Resident Evil 2 is one of the most impactful games released in the franchise. A fan favorite, Resident Evil 2 holds up well even all these years later. With an excellent remake out today, and how collectible some versions of the original have become, it would be easy to say that Resident Evil 2 left a lasting impression on any who experienced it. Today, we're going to look at just one fraction of Resident Evil 2 that has been mostly forgotten about. The original demo, released with Resident Evil Director's Cut. After the original build, now known as 1.5, was scrapped in favor of a completely different build of the game, Capcom decided to re-release the original Resident Evil with some updated gameplay elements and features. Known as Resident Evil Director's Cut, it was made to tide over players as Capcom developed what would become Resident Evil 2. To give players a glimpse into the future, and I can only imagine to entice sales of Director's Cut, Capcom included a small demo of the upcoming game. Now there were actually a few versions of this demo. The one we're looking at today was the international version, released with Director's Cut outside of Japan. The Japanese version has some minor differences, such as some additional trailers, but very little else. There was also a demo released after this that resembles Retail RE2 much closer on various demo discs. But in my opinion, this is the version to look at. Including some prototype files, it has a very different look, and it's pretty interesting to see how the developers evolved the game before its release. The demo has a neat introduction, alluding to the events of the first title, and then dropping you directly into the streets of Raccoon City as Leon. In this demo, Leon also has a different profile picture than he does on release, and the handgun holds 15 rounds instead of the retail version's 18. The intro plays out like Retail as you make your way to Kendo's gun shop. Picking up the handgun rounds here, we see that they have a different look over Retail as well, looking a little more faded in my opinion. As we go through the alley, it seems that either the developers really wanted players to get into the RPD for the demo, or they had not decided to expand the city segment of the game yet, as we completely skip the basketball court and go directly through the alley towards the RPD. This drops you off right at the gate, completely skipping a large portion of what would be included in Retail. The typewriter is not available in the demo, for good reason, as it isn't terribly long and the inside of the RPD looks rather finished at this point. We also have no Marvin in the demo, the room is just filled with zombies for the player to dispatch instead. In this room we find the P key. It seems at this point in development that they had been using letters instead of the shapes we know of today. I found the shape keys far more iconic, so I think that change was a good move. Moving through the RPD, we get to the liquor segment. Normally there's an in-game cutscene, but the demo didn't have FMVs, so this was the best they had for the demo. Not as good as Retail, but still neat to get an early idea of what would become one of Resident Evil 2's most iconic moments. The next few areas are largely the same as Retail until we get to the STARS office. We have a pretty interesting change here as we get to the completion of the demo. When we pick up the L key, we trigger the end of the run and are met with another in-game cutscene. However, instead of Claire is Ada with her warning shot we normally see in the garage. Immediately followed with the fade to black, it certainly does leave an excellent cliffhanger for gamers to look forward to. Even more so when you consider that in Retail, that never happens. players who did play the demo completely off when they reached that segment of the game. Going back to this early build of the game was actually pretty refreshing. While mostly the same as retail, the small differences really do stick out after playing RE2 so many times in my life. It makes it interesting to wonder what went into the decisions to change these things, and mixed with what we know about 1.5, just how different Resident Evil 2 could have been. If you find yourself coming across a way to play this demo, I would recommend it. 20 minutes of your time to relive a very interesting alternative build to the beginning of Resident Evil 2. Thanks for watching this video today. If you enjoyed it, and if you enjoy gaming content and hope to see more, please give me a like and subscribe.